Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. This is your teacher Dr. Amir Shaheen for your course of communication skills, and I welcome you to my class. As you can see that for the previous 5 to 6 weeks we have been talking about various topics regarding the communication skills, and till now we have covered the importance of technical communication as well as process of communication. We also covered the barriers to effective communication, and then we talked about the levels of communication. So today's lecture is about flow of communication, that how communication flow is, how people communicate with one another, and how does it flow from upwards to downwards, or from you know uh, horizontal to vertical. We have talked about these terms in our previous classes, but today we are going to talk about in detail about these things, so that we have a level of mindfulness regarding the flow of communication in our mind whenever we are going to communicate, or we are going to have a write-up, or we are going to send our message through any means, through any medium, to our listeners or our decoders. So let's start with this. Communication flows in an organization in these directions: downward, upward, lateral, diagonal, external. These are some of the aspects of the flow of communication. As you can very much understand through these words, downward, upward, lateral, diagonal, external, that these are the dimensions, these are the directions in which the communication usually flows. And all these directions refer to the hierarchy, the level of hierarchy that exists in any organization. Uh, and we need to know that hierarchy so that we are effectively able to communicate, and our communication is clear, and it is to achieve the target. Downward workplace communication, and the purpose of this downward workplace communication is to enable. So the downward communication consists of communications sent from management to workers, like emails and performance reviews. A manager explains a task to an employee. A customer gives an order to a supplier. Shareholders instruct management. These are the flow regarding the downward workplace communication has these enabling qualities in it, that it is sent from the management to the workers, that a high up in the hierarchy is going to send his or her message to the uh, lower stratas of the hierarchy, like workers, and he may choose any means via emails or the reviews of the performance of those workers that he is supposed to send through letters. Anyway, any medium can be chosen for the downward workplace communication, right? As we have already discussed in the process of communication, that in the process of communication the most important thing is the medium as well, that there are so many mediums now through which we can send our message. We can send through email, we can send through letter, we can send through SMS, we can send through a voice message, and so on and so forth. The downward workplace communication enables the high ups in the hierarchy to reach out for their the lower workers in the hierarchy. So downward communication consists of communications sent from management to workers, and through like emails and performance reviews. And this downward workplace communication may be sort of an explanation of a task from an employee, right, to an employee from the manager of that organization, the superior person who is to manage all the workers. Or it can be some sort of an message from a customer, given to might be a message from a customer that is supposed to place an order for the supply of any material or for the supply of any services to any organization, or the shareholders may instruct the management to the sort of target they want to achieve through their organization, right? So these are the various dimensions of that downward communication, and what does it enable? These forms have more than direction in common. Each one also provides enabling information in the workplace. When a manager instructs an employee, she enables the employee to do his job and makes it possible for him to earn a living by doing something that has value for the employer. Uh, Another example, senior management finds out from shareholders or the board of directors how owners want to apply the money they have invested. So, the aim of downward communication is to enable the high ups or the higher ones in the hierarchy to reach out to their juniors or the workers, and it is the more importantly than the direction of the that is from upward to downward, more importantly from that direction of communication, these messages provide enabling information in the workplace, that is in a space where various workers are working in a hierarchy, and in that hierarchy, say that there are various people from up to down, right, performing their duties, and these all these people, managers and supervisors and workers, all these people, they pass down instructions to the employees, and these instructions messages communicated to them actually enable those employees to do their job effectively and make it possible for them to earn a living by doing something that has value for the employer, as the employer has conveyed it to them. So you see, until and unless there is no clear instructions through clear means of instructions coming down to the workers will not be able to work according to the levels, the requirements of that organization in which they are working. So the end result, that is the work, that is the product of that organization, is the work produced in that organization, and the quality of that work will be affected, highly affected, if the level of communication from upward to downwards, that is from the managers to the workers, is not clear, right? So apart from direction of high ups to the lower ones in the hierarchy, the main aim of that communication is to uh, provide enabling information in the workplace. It is when a manager instructs an employee, he or she enables the employees to do his job and make it possible for him to earn a living by doing something that has value for the employer, right? Because employer is the person who has employed all these workers, and he wants to take certain uh, you know certain jobs done in time. So another example is that senior management finds out from shareholders or the board of directors, this uh, if this communication is happening from shareholders or the board of directors or the outside the organization shareholders, then the management is going to know that how owners want to apply the money they have invested, that those shareholders who are sitting at the top of that organization, or the board of directors who decide about the fiscal spendings, financial dealings of that organization, what outcomes they do want to have from their organization. So it is through the machinery, the working machinery, that is the managers, the supervisors, the followers, the workers, that they want to achieve those goals of their organization, right? So the funds allocated by shareholders or the board of directors are usually they are given through this flow of communication from upwards to downwards. They are being cleared to the workers and how they should perform those duties assigned to them right? These are the important things, most enabling things, important things that happen in a workplace with the help of the communication. Now, here we have the hierarchy. In this slide, you can see that it tells us about the hierarchy of working people in any organization. Any organization may have a managing direction or a board of directors, board of direction, the consisting of the people who actually are the directors, the managing directors and the board of directors, and then under them there are the heads of the departments, and those heads of the departments have their own supervisors, and those supervisors have the officers, and those officers have further people under them, those who work as laborers, workers, right? So this is the hierarchy, how how order from upward to downward moves, and likewise if something has to move from downward to upward, it will start from the laborers to the officer to the supervisor to the head of the department and to the managing director or the board of directors, right? So this is one example of the flow of communication from upward to downward or from downwards to upward. It can be either way, right? And the two other directions that are the lateral or the horizontal and the vertical, and the other diagonal that we will be discussing later. So this is how the through this slide we know that how from upward to downward the communication flows. So in upward to downward, information moves downwards. It goes from high ups to the down to the people at the end of the hierarchy, that is the workers. So most oftenly, this information consists of make a budget report for the month to include the following. Make sure the report includes the exact amount and the quantity. That is, these kinds of instructions usually come from, or the actions that the workers have to take, that or any target that is given to them, that they have to achieve this much amount of work within a month. And these kinds of circulars or these kinds of letters or these kinds of budget allocations and reports, when they move from upward to downward, so these are usually the you know end results of these reports, which actually are sent downward. Purposes: business goals can be shared, providing feedback on employees' performance, giving job instructions, providing a complete understanding of the employee's job, as well as to communicate them how their job is related to other jobs in the organization, communicating the organization's mission and vision to the employees, highlighting the areas of attention. So you see, these are the purposes that are usually fulfilled through the downward communication, that is, which comes from the upward to the downwards, which moves from upwards, which flows from upward to the downwards, which comes from the board of directors and moves down to the workers. So what does it share? This kind of information, this kind of communication aims at sharing the goals of that business organization, that workplace, and it also provides feedback on employees' performance, which is very important thing. These kinds of letters communicate the feedback on the performance level of the employees, that how far they have covered and how far they need to work to achieve their goals. And it also the purpose one another purpose of these kinds of instructions, these kinds of communications, is to give the instructions regarding the jobs of those workers, that if there are, suppose that the manager wants to divide the jobs between various workers, then these uh, communication messages might be consisting of instructions for that, who and among whom the jobs are going to be divided, and uh, what dimensions of jobs they will be performing. So and providing a complete understanding of the employee's job, as well as to communicate them how their job is related to other jobs in the organization. At times these communications coming from high ups to the lower workers of the organization, tell them or make them understand that what is the space of that employee in that organization and how his work is important for that organization, and how they are supposed to do their jobs, achieving the targets sent to them by the organization, or targets set by the organization for them. So and communicating the organization's mission and vision to the employees. Every organization works, you know, according to a mission. It has its vision of discharging the, you know, duties that they assign to their employees, and it also has, an organization has its own targets of achievement regarding their business or regarding the aim of their business in producing the products and reaching out those products to the customers. So within this process, that organization has to have a mission, a vision, and that mission and vision needs to be very much clear to the employees who are working in that organization. And to understand that mission and that vision, the employees need to have clear-cut instructions coming down to them from their managers, and it is very important kind of message, so that those workers are able to work according to the wishes of the, you know, managers as the board of directors, and to fulfill the mission and vision of that organization they are working in. And this kind of communication that comes from upward to downward also highlights the areas of attention, that it tells the workers that their attention is required in what dimensions, in what works, in what fields of areas of work that they are supposed to complete within a proper timing. So you see that in every organization, people at various in levels of their superiority or their junior positions, they are working in their own dimensions. They're fulfilling their duties that they have been ascribed to from their organization, and to discharge those duties, every section in that hierarchy, from board of directors to the workers, has to have a clear-cut understanding of the mission and vision of the organization they are working, the goals of that organization they are working with. So the communication level is very important. The communication flow is very important. Knowing the communication flow and the importance of communication flow for all the employees of any organization is very important. Otherwise, it will, you know, if the flow of communication is disrupted, or it is faulty, or it is having any barriers in it, then definitely it is going to cost a lot of time and money to that organization, and in this way the organization will be at the losing end, and the profits will be decreasing by and by, and the losses will be growing with that organization, and hence there might come a time when that organization is going to be stopped from working, or it is going to go defunct completely and unable to operate the functions, right? So you see that that communication and its flow in the right directions with the clear messages is very important for any organization. Otherwise, those organizations are doomed. They may not survive, right? This is very important. Error-free downward communications, more or less the same thing that I was talking right now, that the downward communication has to be error-free. And to be error-free, what does it have? It has to have, it has to specify communication objectives, right? That what are the objectives that the high-ups want to achieve, right? And they have to specify them clearly and ensure that the message is accurate, specific, and unambiguous. Because these things will be, if the message is not accurate, if it is not specific regarding the specific particular target, or it is ambiguous, not clear, so this will be creating a lot of problems. And utilize the best communication technique to convey the message to the receiver in right form. technique to convey. You know, at times our message is important, but we do not know how to communicate it to the workers. In this, you can count various factors. You can also count the attitude or the tonal quality or the language selection, word selection of the managers to their workers. If they are not able to, behave in a befitting manner, a manager does not being a manager, it does not give you a license to misbehave to the workers. Being a manager, it does not give you any license to disgrace the workers or to use a language that is unbefitting of your stature of a manager or supervisor or an officer. So you see that the technique to convey is the most important thing, because a superior person, an officer or a supervisor or a manager, has to take care of various workers under him, and if he is not able to choose proper language, proper manner of attitude, behavior to carry on, then his effect on his workers will be negative. And if his effect is negative on the workers will not be doing their job in a manner that is required by the organization. So what is going to happen at the end of the day? It is going to be very much dangerous for the organization, since the organization needs to produce the amount of work that it has assigned to its workers, and if those workers are not working accordingly as given instructions to them by their supervisors, just because the supervisors do not have the proper technique of conveying their message to their workers, then that organization is doomed. It will suffer, and it will somehow or the other it will bear losses, and those losses will be difficult for it to bear in the future. And subsequently, what will happen is that this sort of organization will stop working and go defunct and fail.